Okay, so in the last class we started with we looked at CMOS implementations of CMOS implementation of CS amplifier. Okay, with active load. So when I say active load, I'm replacing RD. Okay, drain resistance with a active component. Active component in this case is a simple MOSFET transistor, right? So that load, active load, which is a PMOS transistor, was connected in the form of a current mirror. Okay, the reason we used a current mirror is to provide a steady flow of current. Okay, remember we had Q2, Q1, and Q3. Q1, Q2, and Q3. Q1 is your NMOS transistor, which behaves as a amplifier. Q2 was the active load. Okay, Q3, and there was another current source called I reference. Okay, so that is the reference current needed to flow through Q2 and Q1. Okay, so that is why we need a current mirror there. Right. So with this, we finish off the active load part. Okay. Next topic we look at is high frequency analysis of CS amplifiers. Right. See, whenever you draw a high frequency response, okay, high frequency model of a amplifier, right? You have to keep few things in mind. One is here coupling capacitors will not come into picture because at high frequencies, coupling capacitors will behave as short circuits. That's fine, but there are some parasitic capacitances between the terminals themselves. Like for example, between gate and drain. Okay, between gate and source, between source and body. Right. Okay, between all these capacitors will come into play because they usually at low frequencies uh, they behave as open circuits, okay, which is fine for low frequencies. But for high frequencies, they start behaving as somewhat short circuits, okay, or short circuits with some considerable resistance. Okay, so we have to try and nullify that effect somehow. Okay, or else see you can't totally remove that effect at all. All right. So what we do is up to certain frequency, I need to find up to what frequency I can use my amplifier. Right. That is your cutoff frequency. Right. So till that cutoff frequency, I can use this amplifier without any gain loss. But after that, I have my gain falls drastically, and I can't use that amplifier anymore. Right. So we look at a simple way of finding that frequency. There are actually three methods to find the cutoff frequency. One is using Miller theorem. Okay, remember Miller theorem is for when separating out your input circuit and your output circuit. For example, see if you take CGD, okay, the parasitic capacitance between gate and drain. Okay, it is connecting gate, which is your input, and drain, which is your output. Right. So I'll replace that CGD with some other capacitor in such a way that my analysis becomes easier. So that is Miller's theorem. Second one is called using open time circuit constants. Okay, that we'll see a little later. So first, let us draw the high frequency no, circuit, high frequency model. All right. So small signal model. Yeah. Small signal model considering high frequencies. Okay, high frequency. Considering high frequency analysis. Okay, right. So first, I need this V signal connected to ground. Then I have R signal. Okay, V signal and R signal. You have a CGS here, gate to source voltage, gate to source capacitance, CGS. This voltage across this, I will call it as VGS. Okay, VGS. Then I have a CGD, capacitor between gate and drain. Okay, between the gate and the drain terminals. Then I have my dependent source, which is connected to ground. This is GM into VGS, right? GM into VGS. This is connected to R0. Okay, assume R0. Okay, R0 here is the drain to source resistance. Assuming your MOSFET is in saturation, right? Then after this, you have say a load resistor, RL. Okay, RL. Then you have another capacitance here. Okay, output capacitance. Let me call it CL. Okay, so what CL is? CL here is okay total capacitance between drain and ground, between drain and ground, okay, and the input capacitance of the next stage, right? Next stage. Okay, so here, so CL here is, see, remember, all your amplifiers are always cascaded. Okay, your amplifiers are always cascaded. So, so input of one stage, input capacitance of one stage will act as an output capacitance for the previous stage, right? So that is what the CL is. So this CL is actually the total capacitance between drain and ground. When I say drain and ground, the capacitance between drain and body. Okay, body is anyway grounded, right? Substrate is anyway grounded. So here, when I say drain and ground, it also includes CDB. Okay, this actually also includes CDB. Also includes CDB. Okay, right, and any other stray capacitances, wiring capacitance, all these things, right? So when I say total capacitance between drain and ground, it also includes CDB, drain to body capacitance, and the input capacitance of the next stage, right? So when I have two stages like this, okay, see, this is A1, this is A2. Okay, this will have a capacitance here. Okay, this C in is the input capacitance for A2. It is also the output capacitance for A1, right? So I'm going to include this also in my analysis. So CL. So the total number of capacitances you have in this figure are CGS, CGD, and CL, right? So we'll make use of Miller's theorem now. Miller's theorem to find FH. Okay, Miller's theorem to find FH. Okay, so FH here is also called 3 dB frequency. 3 dB frequency or cutoff frequency. Sometimes it is also called corner frequency also, right? So this is the frequency at which your gain starts to change. Okay, so we'll see how to draw the Miller's diagram first. So what I do is I'll draw the rough figure first. Okay, this is the source side. Okay, this is the gate side. You have a CGD which is connecting like this. This is drain side. Drain. Right. So according to Miller's theorem, what I do is I have to separate input and see, this is input side. This is output side. See, all this is common source, right? So obviously this will be gate will be input side and drain will be output side. So what Miller's theorem does is it will try to separate, isolate input side and output side. So what I do is I remove this. Okay, I remove this and I will put a capacitance like this. Two capacitances like this. Okay. Remember that was CGD, right? This was CGD. The dotted figure is not there anymore. So just to mention this, CGD, right? So this will become CGD into 1 minus gain. Okay. This will become CGD into 1 minus 1 by gain. Okay. See, if you take these capacitances CGD, CGS, and all these parasitic capacitance, they are usually in femtofarads, very, very small value, right? So if you look at this part, the output part, it is CGD into 1 minus 1 by gain. Gain is usually a large value. So 1 minus 1 by a large value is almost equal to 1, right? So this will almost be equal to CGD. But this value, it is not like that. But here it is CGD into 1 minus gain. Gain is a large value, which makes this entire value much greater than CGD. Right. That is why at the output side, you don't mention this part. You do not mention. Okay. Why? Because not required. It's already a small value, and it is connected to ground, so it will not impact your method of finding out cutoff frequency much. Right. So with this in mind, with this formula in mind, okay, if I draw the draw the updated circuit diagram, right? So what will I get? So I'll delete this. Right, now I'll draw it. My VGS will be here like this, plus minus V signal, not VGS, V signal. This is my R signal. Okay, then here I have CGS. This is CGS. Okay, this is plus minus VGS. Right. I had a CGD here, right? That I'm replacing it. That I'll replace with this capacitance. Okay, we'll see what we'll call those capacitance. Right. Then here I have, as usual, my GMVGS dependent source. Then, okay, I have a resistor. This time I'll call this as RL prime. Okay. Then here I will have CL. CL. Here I'll have V0. Right. So what will be this resistance? This capacitance. This capacitance will be CGD into 1 minus of minus GM into RL prime. Okay. Remember, it is CGD into 1 minus gain, right? CGD into 1 minus gain. So CGD into 1 minus gain. Gain here is in your common source. It is minus GM into RD parallel R naught parallel RL, right? So here RL is actually R naught parallel RL, right? So I have taken these two resistances in parallel. I will call it as RL prime. Okay. So gain is, I'll write it clearly. Gain here is gain AV here minus GM into RL prime. Okay. Though the capacitance in play, Miller capacitance. Okay. That is CGD into 1 minus of minus plus GM into RL prime, where RL prime is R naught parallel RL. Okay. Right. So if I look at the input side now, okay, input side, see both the capacitors CGS and CGD are in parallel. So two capacitors in parallel, the equivalent capacitance is the summation of both the capacitances, right? So here, if I draw the same circuit diagram here, plus minus V signal, then you have R signal, and here you have Cin, I'll call it Cin, where Cin is CGS plus CGD into 1 plus GM into RL prime. Okay, right. Now, if you look at this capacitor, this circuit, okay, this circuit actually looks like a low pass filter. Okay, low pass filter, right? So it obviously has a cutoff frequency. Okay, if I find that cutoff frequency, I'm finding out the cutoff frequency for this entire circuit, right? So here I can write tau, time constant. Okay, the tau is R signal into Cin. Okay, tau is equal to RC. This you already know. So tau is equal to RC. Therefore, FH is 1 by 2 pi times tau is equal to 1 by 2 pi times R signal into Cin. That's all. Where Cin is CGS plus CGD into 1 plus GM RL prime. That's all. This is done using Miller's theorem. Any queries in this? Any queries in this? Right. So I have used Miller's theorem here to find what is the corner frequency or the cutoff frequency. Here FH is nothing but the cutoff frequency for this circuit. Right? Cutoff frequency for that circuit is nothing but a low pass filter, right? And if I write, low pass filters in general have a form like this. Okay, I can write V naught, yeah, V naught by V signal is equal to AM midband gain divided by 1 plus S by omega naught. Okay. Remember, this is the general form for low pass filters. For high pass filters, it is like this: AS by 1 plus S, BS, like this. But for low pass filters, it is like this: A by 1 plus BS. Okay, general forms I'm ready. Right. Yeah, here omega naught is your actual cutoff frequency. Omega naught is your actual cutoff frequency. So here, omega naught, instead of writing omega naught, I'll write it as omega h. I think it's better that. Okay, omega h. So omega h is 1 by, I'm sorry, not 1 by 2 pi fh. 2 pi fh. Right. And what is AM then? AM here is your midband gain. Midband gain is that gain when you assume all your capacitors, capacitors in your circuit to be behaving normally. Okay. Say for example, if your capacitors in your parasitic capacitances or your coupling capacitance, all of them are behaving optimally, right? Then if you find the gain of that amplifier, okay, that is nothing but the midband gain. If I draw the response, it'll be like this. This is gain. This is frequency. Okay, so it'll be like this. So this is AM. Okay, and this is actually FH. Okay, so that is what this AM is. So AM here is actually given by Let me write it. Here, AM is actually given by RG by RG plus R signal into minus GMR, right? Here I want to point out one thing. Here RG is the gate resistance. Suppose if you have a gate resistance like this, right here. If I have a gate resistance like this, this is RG, then say this is your MOSFET, then this is say RD, this is VDD, this is RS, R signal, and here this is V signal. Okay, so for this circuit diagram, this is V naught. So for this circuit diagram, a midband gain will be this. But since in our original circuit which we have drawn earlier, right, we didn't have any RG, right? So RG was practically not there, right? So here in this case, due to absence of RG, okay, AM here will be simply minus GM into RL, okay, right? But if your biasing scheme is if this is your biasing scheme, right, then AM will be this RG by RG plus R signal. Why? Because you have to calculate V naught by V signal, right? Then you get RG by RG plus R signal into minus GM into RL prime. RL prime here would be actually since you have RD, it will be R naught parallel RD parallel. If I have RL here, then I get here RL also, right? But here we don't have RG, so it is simply we don't have RD also. Okay, here we don't have RD also, RG and RD. Here my midband gain is minus GM into RL prime, where RL prime is R naught parallel RL. Okay, this remember this gain is pertaining only to this circuit diagram. Okay, it is not for the actual circuit diagram which I have drawn earlier. Okay, I'm just showcasing here what happens if I add RG or RG, RD, and RL also. Okay, this we have proved earlier. Okay, when we were deriving gain for small signal models of common source, common drain, and common gate. Right, we got this formula there. Right, but for this circuit, okay, for this circuit, you don't have RD or RG, right? So your aim here would be simply minus GM into RL, right? So I think it's better I mention that clearly. Delete all this. Okay, so where AM is minus GM into RL prime, where RL prime is R naught parallel R, right? So this you have to keep it in mind. Right? Okay. Any queries still here? This is using Miller's theorem. Okay. Right. So what we'll do now is I'll stop this Okay, today's class I will stop. You have a quiz scheduled today. No, in fact, not today. Right. It is already. I've already posted this in your Google Classroom. Okay. See here. Those USN numbers ending with 0, 3, 5, and 7, you solve set A. Those ending with 1, 6, 8, you solve set B. Those ending with 2, 4, 9, you solve set C. Right. I've posted the corresponding Google Forms here. Okay. So I've posted it now. You can check your Google Classrooms. I will disable the link at 2:50. Okay. I will disable the link at 2:50. Inform your other friends also.